Hi, welcome to the Facebook Live today on ConnecTra. We're with the Disability Foundation, and I'm Renee. I'm a registered dietitian here in Vancouver, BC, and I love talking about food and nutrition and doing cooking demos and sharing recipes. So here I am today, again on Tuesday for a vitamin D presentation. So this is also a very hot topic now, mainly because we are in a really interesting situation. Obviously, we're at home watching this because we are staying home and staying safe. So let's start again with some slides that I've prepared, and we can go directly into our presentation. So here we are. Yes, so it's vitamin D, very important. And today we have to go outside if you can, you know, for 5 to 10 minutes, get a little breath of fresh air and a little sun on your skin. That will help a lot with your mood and also your vitamin D. So once again, if you have any questions, visit our website, truenosh.com. I founded this company about 4 years ago, and you can always email me directly at info@truenosh.com. Okay, so yeah, why are we talking about vitamin D today? Mostly because it is very important for bone health. If you don't have enough vitamin D, younger people suffer from osteomalacia, which is rickets is a common term, and also older people will suffer from osteoporosis, which is like thinning of bones. My mother actually has suffered that, and she's taking supplements. She's doing some weight training exercises to help her out with doing better for her bone health and to increase lean body mass. So that's important for women and men over the age of 50 to start doing some weights, just light weights. You can even lift water bottles if you want at home while you go on a walk, you know, and that's something already that's weight bearing, and you can increase your lean body mass by doing that. Another reason why vitamin D is important, because it is helps increase the immune system, like your defense system for your body. And now we are battling a virus, COVID-19, and some researchers have done some research with vitamin D, and I'll talk about it in the bottom of the slide. And also it can help with preventing cancer, and some studies have been done on prostate cancer for men also. So as you can see, all these three important criteria and topics why vitamin D can affect our health, not just bones, everything else, including immune system, and help decrease the risk of cancer. So recently, COVID-19 is the hot topic, and some research has been done in New Orleans with COVID-19 patients. And they found that the sickest patients, like 100% of the sickest patients, usually in the ICU, which is the intensive care unit, who are under 75, are deficient in vitamin D. So that's an important stat to understand how vitamin D could be related to the virus that we're battling today. Because it regulates the immune system and also helps decrease inflammation. So people who are deficient in vitamin D can have a higher inflammation in their body, and cause them to be more affected because of this virus. So people with low vitamin D have more severe symptoms of the virus, as I'd said before, and are at higher risk of being admitted to the ICU. And that risk is about 12 times higher, okay? All right, so not to deter you, ooh, my slide is a little bit weird here. It's kind of funny, but it's okay. It just means, so I'm just gonna read it off. So what is vitamin D? It is discovered in the 1920s because of rickets. So as I said in the previous slide, younger people who don't have enough vitamin D or deficient in vitamin D can have a chance of developing this disease called rickets, and it is painful bone disease in children. But since then, people and companies and the government have fortified foods, which is seen in cereals and milks, to increase the vitamin D intake in children. And since the fortification of foods, rickets have potentially disappeared, and no real ricket cases have been shown in the last 100 years. So what is vitamin D again? It is fat soluble and it is deemed a vitamin, but it's actually not technically a vitamin, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it's produced by the body on the skin, and it is obtained from foods. But even when you eat vitamin D, high vitamin D foods, you still have to transform it in the body before it can do any good. So vitamin D in your body also helps increase the absorption of calcium. So if you don't have enough vitamin D stores, your absorption of calcium is definitely lower. And it says here that it's, and for a normal person, you can absorb only 10 to 15% of dietary calcium from your food. But with enough vitamin D stores, you actually increase that twofold to 30 to 40%. So that's why vitamin D is important to help your bone health, because it increases your absorption of calcium. And definitely it's an essential part of your health, but only minuscule amounts are required because, as we said, we produce it our own when we go out in the sun on our skin. So where does it come from? Yes, I said that you should go out today for 5 to 10 minutes a day, and it should give you quite a good dose of vitamin D on your skin to be converted into the active form. So sunlight is a way to do so, and the UVB energy converts the vitamin to D3. But if you can't go outside today, some foods that you can consider is to eat fish, and it is in egg yolks. So those two are the foods that are known to have vitamin D in them. And supplements also have a great source of vitamin D. We'll talk about that later on, how much and what to look for when you go out and buy supplements. And they're usually, interestingly, there's two forms of D, D2 and D3. The supplement form is a D2, and it's known to be exposed to some UV light, which can help you convert it to the active form in your body. Some people ask me, well, what causes vitamin D deficiency? Well, some of my friends have like a darker skin tone. People who have a lighter skin tone usually have a better way of absorbing the sunlight, but darker skin tones tend to have a reduction of vitamin D absorption and production. So if you have a darker skin tone, you might want to consider a lower sunscreen, like maybe not from 60, go to like a 30 or 15. And then some people who have intestinal disorders and can't absorb fat. So as I said previously, fat is important to help you absorb vitamin D. And we said last week, and we talked about cholesterol, some of the healthy fats to consider. So like avocados, what else did we say? Grapeseed oil, olive oil. Those are better fats to take, and also fish, right? So some fatty fish like salmon, sardines, those are also important to for you to eat when you go out and buy food for yourself. Look for those types of fish to help you ingest vitamin D and also help you absorb it correctly, right? And some people who are immunocompromised, and also people who have liver or kidney disease, can reduce active vitamin D conversion. And that will be in the next slides, because I'll tell you how actually vitamin D is converted into our body. And the kidney and liver play a really major role in doing that. So it's not about just, focusing on the skin, but also the overall health of your organs too. So eating healthy and wholesome foods that can keep your liver happy and kidney liver happy by, not drinking too much alcohol, and not always overworking, and sleeping sufficient amount of hours can help your kidney and liver stay healthier to convert vitamin D into its active form. And some of us here in BC, and also in the higher latitude areas of the world, sunlight is not abundant all year round. So the deficiency of sunlight in the autumn and winter months can cause low vitamin D levels in our body. And then when people are afraid to go out in the sun for too long, and they put ample amounts of sunscreen, and that can deter your skin from absorbing vitamin D. So the idea is to not stay in the sun for too long. I mean, 5 to 10 minutes at a time, and then come in for some shade, and then go out again to protect yourself, and always, reapply your sunscreen. And that's something that you can consider in the months to come, because summer is coming in the Western world. So sun, yeah, how it happens, it's really interesting, because the UV radiation is on our skin when we go out to absorb sunlight. And then we absorb the vitamin D precursor, and then it actually travels in our body and heads to the liver, and that's where it picks up oxygen and hydrogen, and it gets converted into another form of vitamin D before it hits the kidney. And that's when that important step to transform the vitamin D that we've absorbed in the sunlight or in our food to make an active form of vitamin D. So steps you can take to increase your vitamin D and stores is adapt a balanced diet. As I said, be nice to your body, choose different colors of fruits and vegetables, and good fats. If you guys review my last week's and the week before the presentations, they both talk about different types of food that you can go out and buy in the grocery stores to help you adapt a balanced diet. Balanced diet is super easy when you can understand eating even different colors of vegetables, and understand balancing different sizes of meats and also starches on your plate too. Okay, and then an active lifestyle. Obviously now you can't gather in large groups, but you can definitely go on long walks and find shade when it gets too hot. Take a break out of your day to just go outside your front door or in front of your office and just take a little breath of fresh air. That's also great. And it shouldn't be so hard, 5 to 10 minutes, right? You just have to schedule that in your day to kind of go out and absorb some sunlight, okay? And another way that you can find out what your vitamin D risks are is to go get a blood test. And thankfully, we can still go see our doctors, and you can still have them recommend a vitamin D blood test. And I'll tell you in the next slide what measurements you should be looking for, and what your doctor will look at when they see your blood results. Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit about supplementation and what to look for when you go out to vitamin section in your grocery store or some supplement stores. But it's not until 1997 that the RDA, which is the Recommended Dietary Allowance, that's what RDA stands for, was recommended to be 200 IUs, which is called international units, for all adults. But since then, there are a lot more research, and there is a growing evidence that vitamin D is deficient in the northern and Western world. So now the RDA for older people have, for 50 to 70-year-old people, has increased to 400 and 600 for people that are even older, that are older than 70. But then more and more research has happened in the last few years, and now physicians and dietitians are recommending that even 800 to 1,000 a day is needed to help you sufficiently get enough vitamin D in your body. So the Institute of Medicine actually said that anything that is above the, sorry, I'm going to turn this off, the RDA levels, which I have a table of, and you can also find in Health Canada's website, and you can just Google Health Canada vitamin D intake or recommended levels, and it'll pop up. And then they said that no additional health benefits have been associated with intakes with a level that is recommended with the new RDA. So this is it. So when you Google Health Canada guidelines for vitamin D, you'll see very different results for different age groups. So if I go on, infants start from 400 IU, which is on the label. You can either find the IU or the micrograms, and that's related to about 10 micrograms. And as you age and get older, your requirements get higher. So about 600, and then the older you get, when you get to 70, you need about 800. And then when you're pregnant or lactating, feeding your baby, women need at least 600 IUs, okay? And then on the other side, you'll see the tolerable upper intake, because some people don't understand that one tablet in a bottle can have more than your daily recommended allowance. So those people should review these guidelines and not go too crazy and not go above the upper intake, because not enough research has been shown with these amounts and they might not be ideal for your body and actually can cause harm. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna, before I go on further, Taylor, is there any questions with anybody on Facebook or Zoom that I need to address? Nope. Nope. Okay. Yeah. So when you get your results from your doctor, usually when you're, fine, your doctor doesn't really call you and let you know. But you can also request the results and go and ask him what he advises and what he thinks of your blood tests. And some things to look for when you look at your results. And there are a few levels that are of concern. So 50 or above is something that you don't really need to supplement vitamin D with. And if you are sufficient at about 50, then you don't really need to do anything too special with your diet or to increase your vitamin D stores. But when you are very close to 50 or a little bit lower than 50, about 30 to 50 range, then you are potentially at risk, and you might want to start eating more fish, And you might want to start looking at supplements. And I don't recommend supplements until you know that you are at risk and you are able to find supplements. And if you're between 30 and 50, food sources like a fish and probably 1 egg a day is good enough to help you replenish those stores. But some individuals who have high cholesterol might not want to go that route. And some individuals who can't do physical activity and who can't exactly go out to absorb any sunlight, supplementation is the next thing that you want to look at, right? So another point, if you're below 30, so you are definitely at risk. You might not be deficient, but you are at risk, and you need to consult a doctor or dietitian to help you understand some food sources and lifestyle changes in order to help you increase that vitamin D level in your body. Okay? All right, so I always ask everyone that I see, choose your health, because your body is the only thing that lives with you throughout your whole life, and you need to be nice to it. So diet can help, but it's hard to approach the new goals with the food alone. As I said, those who have high cholesterol might not want to eat more than 1 egg a day, because that's already at your daily cholesterol amount recommended by Health Canada. So fish and shellfish, so these are some measurements. So 5 ounces of salmon is about small size of your palm. And 7 ounces of halibut, okay? And then 30 ounces of cod, right? Cod you can eat a little bit more, but it is a big portion, right? And then with tuna, so if you can get tuna, that is low in mercury, so some of the smaller fishes, right? But also tuna is known to be not sustainably farmed and not sustainably harvested, so you might not want to go that route. But these are just some measurements and guidelines for you to go out and look for when you go into the supermarket and buy your fish. And as I said, 1 egg yolk is about 20 international units, and that's already your daily cholesterol intake. So that's why manufacturers fortify milk and yogurt, orange juice, and cereals with vitamin D. And you can just look at the label to see how much vitamin D that you're going to get. And some servings will provide 100 IUs, or some servings will provide entirely 400 IUs, and you don't need to eat too much of it. As I said, supplements are a good way to go if you are at risk only and if you need that supplement. And a multivitamin, most of them provide at least 400 IUs in one tablet. And the idea is to read the labels carefully, so you don't want to get too much, right? And you also don't want to get too little. So understanding your labels, read everything that you buy, and it's a good way to understand where your food comes from, what ingredients you're ingesting into your body, and a good way to educate yourself with the food you eat. So cod liver oil is rich in vitamin for sure, but that's why I'm asking everyone to read the labels, because it can have a lot of vitamin A also, and that's one vitamin that you don't want too much of. And I will probably talk about that in one of the upcoming weeks of my sessions on Tuesday. Once again, our friendly nutrition facts table. So it is in the bottom of the nutrition facts table. And if you refer to the Health Canada chart, about 1 IU international unit is about 0.025 micrograms. So about 10 micrograms is about 400 IUs. And that's something that you want to make sure that you look at. And during the autumn and winter months, when there's not as much sunlight, you want to increase a little bit of your vitamin D intake. And this is my last slide, and this is basically the whole idea of my presentations is not just to concentrate on one nutrient, because your overall diet is what it will make the biggest difference in your health. And that's why each week I'm going to talk about different types of nutrients and food to help you understand the variety that you can do at home and when you're eating out. And then I want to reiterate, because I work with the diabetes population, mostly because it is something that it's very dear to me, as my father passed away from diabetes about 10 years ago, and that's the whole reason why I went to the food business. Is products often have labels that might deter you or make you want to go buy it because it's low fat, but you want to understand the whole concept of the label is to help you want to buy the product, and always look at the back, just look at the ingredients, and just make sure that the product that you're buying and you think it's healthy, it's just not low in fat. It has to also contain, less processed ingredients and less refined carbohydrates, calories, sugar, and sodium. Okay, and once again, we can always refer back to Health Canada's website to help you get more information and get us to become happier and healthier. And that's it. So we're going to get this screen back up, and so you can come and visit me in the kitchen. So all right, so actually now I have a question. So we have a question, Odin. So he's asked, is there a way that you can know if you're deficient without getting a blood test? Well, there are certain things that you can look for in your body. So one of the things is mood. And in the winter months, you'll find yourself maybe moody and not as excited to do certain things like you would compared to summertime. And that could be a way to understand and listen to your body, and then you want to go and get that blood test. And if you really don't want to get the blood test, you can start by increasing your fish, sustainable fish intake. And you can see if you don't have high cholesterol, try adding an egg a day to your daily intake of food. Okay, is that something that you can do? But there is really no way for sure to understand that you're low in vitamin D unless you take a blood test. You can feel like bone aches and things that might have that effect in your body if you don't have enough strength to do certain things, walking and lifting heavier things. If that's a little bit more work for you, that could have potential signals for you to tell that you're low in vitamin D, but that can be other things as well too, right? So I would, if you are questioning your vitamin D stores, then you would go and basically make sure of that by getting some evidence with a blood test. Okay, so I'm going to share some recipes with you. This is what I do on a weekly basis. I just want to make sure that the camera is facing my prep table here. We're going to do a banana pancake. We're not going to use any flour with this banana pancake. It's just bananas and eggs, and there's no sugar, and you can you can add a little pinch of salt. As I said, salt helps bring out the sweetness of the fruits that we're using to sweeten our recipes. And I'm also going to make a homemade really quick mayonnaise using some grapeseed oil and also an egg, and then some canned sardines. And I know a lot of people live on their own, and it's hard to buy a big fish or even a slice of fish. So canned fish is fine. And some canned fish like canned salmon or canned sardines, you can use to make a dip or a spread for some crackers, or even you can even use it as a spread on some fruits like an apple is what I'm going to do today. Okay, so is there any more questions before I go on to start my cooking demo? If not, again, you can email me at truenosh.com, info@truenosh.com, and we'll try our best to get back to your questions right away. All right, so let us do the mayonnaise first, because we're gonna wait for the sweet pancakes afterwards. So what I'm going to use is just 1 egg. I have a immersion blender here. These are very easy to find. You can find them online. You can also get them at local stores like Canadian Tire or Walmart or similar stores like that. And sometimes you can even find it at a garage sale, which is a very exciting find for me. I like this because you can make really beautiful soups with it. You can make sauces with it. I think I've used it in most of my presentations in the last few weeks on the channel. So you'll need one of this. If you don't have this, you can use a whisk and just whisk it by hand, or you can use a Vitamix, like a blender that's similar, that has a blade, like Magic Bullet or Vitamix or a food processor. Those are fine to use, and the reason why I like to make my own mayonnaise is I can control the amount of oil and what type of oil I'm using, so I know that is a healthy type of oil that I've purchased from the store, and I trust that I'm only going to put really good, yummy things in here. So I have eggs, I have some oil, and I'm actually going to, I forgot to get some mustard and some lemon juice, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I have some lemon juice here, and then a little bit of Dijon mustard. It doesn't have to be Dijon mustard, it can be any type of mustard, and a little pinch of salt. So I'm using only a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, okay? Some recipes you'll find online, they'll ask you to say a whole teaspoon, but we're going to also try to decrease our sodium intake and only use a 1/4 amount. And you can add some things like garlic powder later, and then also some herbs like dry thyme or rosemary to make your mayonnaise more flavorful that way. Okay, so let me put in a whole egg. Some recipes will also just add, have you add egg yolk, but I don't mind just adding the whole egg because, you know, what are you going to do with the egg white if you're not going to make a meringue or something later? Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball this Dijon mustard. It's about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard, and then also a teaspoon of, you can either use vinegar or lemon juice. I like lemon juice because it gives it a little bit more citrusy taste to this, but apple cider vinegar or white wine vinegar or just white vinegar works just as well. The vinegar helps the egg coagulate and helps the protein not break down, okay? And 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and then, as I said, I didn't add it in yet, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then this way, if you think you might need a little bit more salt, you can add it after. But if you add too much, you can never take it out, right? So there's a great measurement tool for me. I'm going to add 1, ooh, this is a new oil. So I'm using grapeseed oil. You can use avocado oil. You can use safflower oil, sunflower oil, olive oil, because we're not cooking high temperatures. So any of those oils work, or even like rice bran oil works well, and flaxseed oil. So do your shopping. Doesn't have to be one particular type of oil. Okay, so it's about 1 cup of oil to 1 egg. Okay, and then we're going to put our immersion blender all the way to the bottom, and we're going to leave it there for a bit to help it settle down and sort of mix it a little bit. Make sure the egg is directly and underneath the head of the mixer. And then you want to start by slowly pressing the button and don't hesitate, okay? Keep the motor on the bottom, and until you see white happening in the bottom, then you can bring your immersion blender up and mix the ingredients around. Okay, so how easy was that? We made mayonnaise in about 30 seconds, and it's very yummy mayonnaise. And you don't have to make too much of it, right? So sometimes the jar of mayonnaise in the store is really big, and you'll have to store it in the fridge for a little bit longer. But this way, making mayonnaise at home, you'll know that there's no preservatives. And you'll know every ingredient that you've added to it. And I've definitely helped support the local community here. We have some organic eggs from J&E Egg Farm, and I visited them at the Coquitlam Farmers Market, and they're wonderful people. So the mayonnaise you can just store in this container with a lid, and it'll last about 4 or 5 days, and you can use it on sandwiches, you can use it in cooking, you can use it in a dip, which is what we're going to do today. So I have a can of sardines. I'm not going to use all of it. I want to leave some mayonnaise so I can you know, make other things with it. But you can get different types of canned fish if you can't buy fresh ones, and you want to cook the fish also, and you don't need too much. So I'm gonna get about 2 pieces of sardines out of here. And this one, it comes in a tomato sauce, which is great, so I don't have to add any flavor into it. And then make sure that there's no added sugars also in your fish. And then I'm just going to add about 1/2 cup of this mayonnaise into my sardines, and I'm just going to use my spoon and just mix that around. Okay, and then if you have some vegetables like carrots or celery, you can chop that up. I'm going to go ahead and grab a carrot, which I also forgot to get, and then some herbs like garlic powder or thyme you can use. We have some chili pepper also, and this is a little bit of BC garlic. This is a local company also, and this is called garlic skate powder, which is the green part of the garlic. I'm going to add a little bit of that so we don't have to add extra salt. And then just dice in some carrots or celery or even cabbage, which would be great. Okay, I'm going to rinse this part out. really well. Okay, so then we can chop the carrot into small pieces. I'm just going to use half a carrot because this is a small spread and dip that we're using. And we're just going to dice it into small pieces. If you want to blend anything into the mayonnaise, you can also do that with the handheld blender after it becomes mayonnaise, okay? All right, so let me just finely chop the carrot into small pieces. And now you've given your dip a little bit of texture and fiber and also vitamin A. So that's something that you can consider adding a little bit of color also. If you get some broccoli, you can also chop up the ends and use the crowns for the dipping, right? Okay. So I have chopped half a carrot, and this is the perfect amount to add to about half a cup of the dip or spread that I've just made with the sardines and the fresh mayo. Okay, great. We're just gonna mix that well. And I do have a plate of some whole wheat crackers here, and I'm going to serve it with also some sliced apples, and then the rest of this carrot too. So this is a great snack to have in the afternoon when you need a little bit of a picker-upper. Okay. So some carrot sticks, some apple slices, and some whole wheat crackers is pretty amazing to energize your day. So I chose some green apples. You can use whichever apples you want. And if you're letting it stay around for a couple minutes, squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on top so the apple doesn't turn brown, and it'll just keep its color for a little bit longer. Okay, so I have some apple slices that I've cut, and this is also great presentation. Kids and adults would love to do, and it's a great way to hide your vegetables and fish. Okay, and here we are. There is our first recipe. I'm going to come over and show you. You guys can take a look at how beautiful this dip is. Okay, and then now we're going to go into our next recipe, which is a banana pancake. So once again, we're going to use 1 egg, and this makes about 2 pancakes. You can do 2 eggs, so it makes 4 pancakes, so it's good for a meal. And I'm going to use a slightly ripened banana. For those of you who are concerned about your blood sugars, I wouldn't go with something too ripe, but any banana will do, 1 whole large one, okay? And I'm gonna also add in a pinch of salt, so about 1/4 teaspoon of salt gets into my blender. And I'm also gonna use a handheld blender for this. For this one, you can just use the mayo one because we're adding the mayo one only has eggs and some lemon juice and a little bit of mustard. Okay, so we're going to add about 2 eggs to this, and it should make about 4 small pancakes. Just going to go rinse the head of the blender, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go again. I have some baking powder. If you don't have baking powder, you don't have to use it. It'll still make pancakes okay. So just a little bit of baking powder. If you have baking soda, you can also use that. Just make sure you add a little lemon juice or vinegar to it to help it become active. Okay, so I'm gonna add only half a teaspoon of baking powder to this. Oops, I lost a little bit. Okay, and that's it. So 2 eggs, 1 large banana, a little bit of baking powder. If you don't have baking powder, you can use baking soda with a little bit of vinegar or lemon juice. And we're going to use our handheld blender again. Just going to make sure that all the bananas have been incorporated in. And this time you can throw in things like mixed nuts or seeds or even oats if you want some fiber into this, or even add a scoop of fiber like Metamucil or psyllium husk that we used last week for the cholesterol segment. And then you can just turn on your skillet. This here and make pancakes. So a little bit of cooking oil. Okay, we're going to wait for the pan to get hot. This is going to stay here for a little bit. Adding some blueberries is also an idea. Now blueberry season is coming up. And just any type of fruits. You can even mash up some more bananas so that it's chunkier. I actually love to add some sesame seeds to give it a little bit of a crunch inside, which I'm going to find, or even flax seeds actually. So flax seeds is another wonderful ingredient that you can add, and it's got a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. This particular flaxseed is given to me as a gift by my dietitian friend Amy. She's a wonderful dietitian from Liba Nutrition, so you can go check out her website and find out more information with the Chinese population. She leads tours in Richmond at PriceSmart. So a little bit of flax seeds goes a long way. And then once the pan is hot, you can add slowly, drizzle it in. So I love this container because it's got a spout, and you're going to drizzle that in slowly in the middle. Okay, and it is a little bit runny, so make sure a little bit of that edge gets cooked first before you add a little bit more to top up the pancake. Okay, so I'm going to get a plate, and then I'm going to chop up the rest of the apples and serve it with this pancake. Okay, so the edges have cooked, and I'm going to slowly add another bit of banana pancake to this, and I'm going to get a nice spatula. And there you go. We're just waiting for the underside of the pancake to get brown, and we can flip it. So let me just check on if anybody has any more questions. Okay. I hope you guys are enjoying the presentation, and you can make this at home pretty easily. I can hear the pancake sizzle, so I'm very excited. Okay, so don't be too rough with your pancake. Once it starts lifting, it should be ready. And I'm going to give it 1 more minute before I flip it. Okay, I can hear the banana. I mean, I can hear the banana. I can hear it sizzle. I can smell the banana, actually. I love the smell of cooked bananas. And you can see that there's some bubbles on top of the pancake. And once there's maybe like 10 bubbles on top, you'll know it's ready to be flipped. Oops, a bit watery still. Let me just wait a little bit. I think the pan was not hot enough when I put the pancake on. But no worries. I can see the underside and it looks very, very nice. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it. Ooh, there you go. Okay, so just let it cook for another minute or so. I'm going to bring you guys closer to my skillet. And there you go, banana pancakes with no sugar, no flour, just eggs, bananas, a little pinch of salt, and some baking powder. Okay? And after this side's cooked, I'm going to bring it and put it on my plate, and we can start on another pancake. I'm going to turn this off right now, and this is one pancake, and we can also cut up some apple slices thinly. And I'm going to get out some cinnamon. So cinnamon's also a wonderful spice, and it can help you regulate your blood sugar absorption. So this is also a beautiful way to serve your pancakes. This is with a little fresh fruits and a dash of cinnamon. So there you go. This is my two recipes that I'm going to share with you today. I'm just going to get the cinnamon a little bit right now to finish it off. Woo. Okay, so pancakes, and we have a beautiful dip with some simple crudité to go with it, okay? So yeah, that's all I have for today.